Do you prefer stability or do you prefer flexibility? What's going on, everyone? It's Mateo, Elvira here, and in this video, I wanted to cover the realities, the truths behind being freelance, behind being an employee. What are the pros and cons of working for yourself or working for someone else? I've been a freelance videographer, content creator for a couple months now, and I wanted to shed some light on the realities of the situation, so stay tuned. So I just wanted to make a video here because I'll be honest with you, it's been really tough lately. I've gone through a lot of ups, downs, back up and downs, and I think for those who want to chase entrepreneurship, this freelance lifestyle, I want to shed some reality, some insight, because it's not easy. When you're working as a freelance employee, when you're working for yourself, when you're self-employed, you have a lot of flexibility. Like right now, it's 9:30 a.m. If I was working for a company, I'd most likely be working right now. But because I'm self-employed and I really own and maintain my own schedule, I have the flexibility to sort of do things at my own leisure, at my own pace. And I really love that. I love doing things on my timeline as opposed to the other way around. And I think that's what really draws a lot of people to seek self-employment, to seek freelance work, to seek entrepreneurship. However, on the flip side, I think there's some things that you give up in exchange for this flexibility. And that, of course, is stability. What do I mean by stability? I think most people think of financial stability. What does financial stability look like? To me, that looks like a reoccurring paycheck every 2 weeks or every month. And if you think about that, that's super important. If you're a parent, if you support other family members, if you have a mortgage, if you have a large amount of bills to be paid, taking that leap into entrepreneurship is actually more of a risk than it is a reward, because we rely so much on being able to put food on the table, being able to pay these bills. I'm lucky enough that I moved back home and my parents really helped me a lot in the fact that I don't necessarily have a lot of expenses. I don't necessarily have to risk a lot. And I'm very lucky to be in this situation. But again, this idea of flexibility versus stability, and what do you value? Do you value doing things at your own pace? Are you able to work through some really challenging periods? Because being a freelance employee, being self-employed is almost like being your own sales rep, right? There's ups and downs, there's highs and lows. Since you're working on your own schedule and you're doing stuff on project basis with clients, a lot of that you can't really control. Of course, you can control, how many touches you do, how many jobs you apply for, how many people you reach out to on a daily basis. And those are things that you can control. What you can't control is dealing with bad clients. What you can't control is not having a paycheck for a few weeks. What you can't control is, the unknown, which is, I don't know when my next job is, right? I just finished an audio project. I have a current client that we have a contract due until the end of the next month. But for me, I don't have any future work lined up. And to some people, that's really nerve-wracking. That gets them really anxious, knowing that they don't know when their next paycheck is coming in. But I think from what I've learned is if you can really hone in on what your craft is and what your freelance skill is. For example, if you're an editor, you're a freelance editor, there's always going to be work for you to do. Especially now with COVID, a lot of people are creating content. There's always going to be a demand for editors. And as long as you're willing to push through the hard times, push through the low times, and always fill the top of your funnel. And what do I mean by that is getting your name out there, reaching out to new people, looking on Indeed, looking on LinkedIn, right? You're always looking for new opportunities. And I think that's part of the lifestyle of being a freelance entrepreneur, being self-employed, being your own digital marketing agency, right? That's just part of the territory. So you really just have to ask yourself, what do you value more? Do you value going in, putting in 8 hours a day in exchange for a paycheck every 2 weeks? Because right now, I'll be honest with you, that sounds kind of nice. But part of me is saying, again, this is, you take it with the high and the lows, right? We've all heard that saying. And I think right now, when you're in a position where you don't really have that stability, you always want what you don't have. When I was working a job, I craved that flexibility because all I had was stability and all I had to do was do a job at a set time with set tasks. But now I'm sort of on the flip side, right? Now I'm a freelance, self-employed digital marketer. And what I don't have right now is stability. I don't have a reoccurring payment. Now, that's not to say that we haven't been successful so far or that there's not going to be a future paycheck soon, but it's just part of the territory. I need to do my due diligence and make sure that I get paid, that my contractors get paid, that my freelancers get paid. It could be stressful for a lot of people people. And so I just wanted to shed some light here. I don't think there's a bad option. It's whatever you value, right? Do you value doing your craft knowing that you might get paid less and you might have some inconsistencies in your pay? You might not know when your next job is, but you really love what you do. On the flip side, you might get paid a ton of money and you might hate what you do. You might hate what you do, but you only do it because of that paycheck, or you only do it because that paycheck is so big, or you only do it because this sense of stability, that reoccurring money, is valuable to you. And so what I've learned is they're just two different paths. And it's not to say that one is better than the other, or these people are better than these people. I think it just comes down to what you value. Do you value that flexibility, or do you value that stability? And I think there's a lot to learn with both of these paths. I just wanted to be very clear and set expectations with everyone out there, because it's hard. Everyone says, I want to be an entrepreneur, I want to do my own thing, until they finally step into that role and they realize that it's really not what people claim it is. It's very rewarding when you find a client, when you find a good client, when you find a good paying client. But I think that's very optimistic. But that's not to say that you won't have a very successful career as a freelancer, that you won't. It's just the nature of the beast. So what can we learn here from just comparing these two paths is to really understand, to be self-aware, like, what do you value? What makes you happy? What can you withstand? Can you withstand a couple of weeks, a couple of months without a steady paycheck? Are you willing to put in the time to plant those seeds daily and take the highs with the lows? I think that's the best way to explain being self-employed, being an entrepreneur, is taking the highs with the lows and the lows with the highs, because what you give up in exchange for chasing your passions, for chasing your dreams, is the instability, or I like to call the short-term instability. But I think if you have a really powerful engine inside of you that is pushing you every day to make those touch points, to push yourself, to make those connections, to get your work known, to practice your work, I think every day, if you can practice those skill sets and understand the nature of the work, of the beast, of what you do as an entrepreneur, as being self-employed, then I think you have a really good shot. Let me know down below what you think of this video, if there's any other insights that you'd like me to cover when it pertains to anything self-employed, and if there's anything that I can help you. Again, I'm learning just as much as you're learning. I want to document this journey for you, to share with you my mistakes so you don't make the same mistakes that I've made in the past. And again, I'm always here as a resource for you. Thank you so much, everyone. I hope you have a great week, and let's get after it.